Hello Hustlers, today we're going to be talking about dreaded product research. I'm going to be sharing some of the tips I learned in doing my product research to find my first two products that will hopefully save you guys a ton of time as you do your product research.
Time to pack my bags and leave. Finally I feel the air I breathe in. I can say that I become a light to me. Well, in your lights I'll always be. Oh,
I spent about 40 hours doing product research before I found my first product. That was over the course of about 12 days. I went through 70 pages of about 100 products per page on Jungle Scout. In the process, I actually had 3 failed products before I found my first product. And by failed product, I mean a product that I was already negotiating prices with manufacturers. I thought it was a great product only to find out that it wasn't a great product, and luckily I didn't actually order that one. But currently I have my first product. It should be arriving at Amazon this week, and my second product will probably be in Amazon by the end of July. So let's talk about mindset. This is really key, especially if you're new to the Amazon FBA hustle. I can guarantee that if you're new, you're probably scrolling past potential products and not even realizing it. The wrong mindset blinds you to the opportunities that are available. So many people who are new to the Amazon FBA hustle are looking more for a lottery ticket or a golden goose for their first product. The chances are you're not going to find that for your first product. A few people, get lucky and they do, but most people won't. So the truth is that product research is more like hunting than farming. If you're looking for your first private label product, you're like a young predator hunting for its first kill. I know it's an intimidating process. It's a time-consuming and kind of tedious process, but if you don't hunt, you don't eat. If you can't handle the uncertainty and the risk, there's a place for predators who don't hunt. It's called the zoo. You can go back to corporate America where you work for someone else who's willing to take the risk and get the greater reward. So let's jump into some of the keys of product research. So when you're looking through Jungle Scout, you want to make sure you check how long has a product been selling. Some of the numbers you're looking at, like numbers of reviews, it makes a big difference if the product has only been there for a couple of weeks or if it's been there for 6 months to a year. A product with only 5 reviews that's only been there for a couple of weeks, that's not as good or not as good of an opportunity as a product with 5 reviews that's been there for 6 months. The next key is that you want to check the total product sales. So you want to make sure that the top 10 to 15 listings have at least 2,000 sales per month. This just makes sure that there's enough sales available that when you jump into the market, if it gets more competitive later on, you don't have a bunch of sellers fighting over a small number of sales, which means everyone will get less. So the next key is that when you're reviewing the product on Jungle Scout, you want to make sure that the top 7 out of 10 or 10 out of 15 products on page 1 meet the criteria for high sales, low reviews, low weight, and net profit. You want to make sure that you have a higher chance of reaching page 1 and reaching the top ranks of page 1 when you list your product. So the next key is when looking for products on Jungle Scout, one of the main criteria is low competition. But low competition is more than just number of reviews. You'll find that there's some products that have low reviews, but if you go on page 1 and you see 2 or 3 sponsored listings, you know that there's probably a lot of people who are fighting for PPC to get to that top spot, which means that if you enter that market, you could have to spend a lot of money on PPC in order to push to the top listing. So that's another thing to look out for is the number of sponsored products you see on page 1 and page 2, which could indicate that there's a lot of sellers paying a lot of money for PPC. So next, let's talk about the tools we use to find products for Amazon FBA. So first is the Jungle Scout product suite. You have the Chrome extension, you have the product database, and the product tracker. Those are 3 things that I use to help me find my first products. So when it comes to the Jungle Scout product database, I choose to use as few criteria as possible. I only stick to the most vital ones to make sure that the products meet my criteria. So usually I'll start with reviews less than 50, and sometimes I'll go up to 65 or down to 35 just to tweak the criteria a little bit. Next, I like to keep the weight under 2 pounds. Sometimes I'll go up to 2.5, 3, or sometimes I'll go down to 1 or 0.5 pound. I like to set the estimated sales at around 300, but you can tweak that a little bit, and I'll make another video to explain how you can play around with estimated sales to reach your revenue goals, but not necessarily be stuck with one criteria here. So I usually don't mess around with price that much, but I like to shoot for net profit. So I usually set it for at least 10. Sometimes I'll crank it up to even higher numbers just to, see what type of other products are out there. And lastly, you want to make sure that your size is set to standard. You don't want to do any oversize. I mean, you could eventually, but when you're looking for your first product, it's easier if you don't have to deal with that. So next is when using the product database, you should break down the list into smaller chunks. Anything is easier, any task is easier when you break it down into smaller pieces. So for example, in the criteria we talked about before, sometimes I'll look for product weights that are between 1.5 pounds and 2 pounds, and that breaks down the list into a much smaller number. And then I'll go, for 2 pounds to 2.5 pounds. So you see, you can break down the list into much more manageable numbers so you don't feel overwhelmed to go through, 70 pages with 100 products per page. So the next tip is to check your price history of your product on Camel. This is a website which shows the history of the price on a product. So you can go back months or years depending on how long it's been on Amazon, and you can see what the product price fluctuation is. There's sellers who I've seen who ordered their product and they saw it was a certain price and didn't realize that it was at a spike, and then by the time their product came in to Amazon, the price had gone down and their product the profit for the product was so low that they were struggling to even break even on PPC. So always check the price history for your product. I also suggest using the 999 eye track method. Now this is a method where it's starting to get a little outdated because so many sellers out there are putting limits on how many products you can order, but the basics of it is that you take a product, you add it to your cart, and then you try to add 999 of it to your cart. And Amazon will tell you there's not 999 available, there's only X number available. And by that, you're now able to see exactly how much inventory someone has left, and then you track that over the course of 7 days, and you track the difference from day to day, and you can see exactly what their sales are. Because you have to remember that Jungle Scout is only really giving you estimates of sales. Now, to go along with the 999 eye track method, I also use the Jungle Scout product tracker. And usually by doing both of those, I can get a really good idea of what the sales are going to be for a product. And I'll track, multiple products or multiple listings within the same product to see what the sales are like across the whole entire niche. So the last tip for this video is to check through the negative reviews. Before I ordered my first product, I read through the negative reviews of every single listing, and I looked for the things that people were complaining about, and I made sure that when I dealt with my manufacturers, I did something to address those issues. Now some of the issues were a little more complicated than others, and I might fix them at a later time, but anything that's easy to fix, you want to make sure you take care of that right away, because you don't want to launch a product and then the first thing you're getting is the same negative reviews that are on other products, because that's going to make people who actually do a little research before they buy on Amazon, they're going to turn away from your product because they see that you already have negative reviews and you don't even have that many, so you want to make sure that you can avoid as many negative reviews as possible by addressing any issues that you already see with the products that are currently being sold. Before I go, if you want to get more information about where I got all this great product research information from, I have links that are in the description. If you order either of the courses from the links I have in the description, you'll also get my support as you begin your Amazon FBA journey. So for beginners, I suggest Tanner J. Fox's Amazon Seller Mastery course. This is the best investment you could make as you begin your Amazon FBA journey. The course is actually tripling in price soon, so I suggest you get it now. So for those who have already successfully launched an Amazon product, I suggest you get Kevin David's Amazon FBA Ninja course. This course is going to help you take every aspect of your Amazon game to the next level. So I definitely suggest this one for people who think they already know what they're doing, but really want to improve their profits and improve their skills and knowledge in Amazon FBA and take it to the next level. So once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I have more great content coming up soon, so stay tuned and subscribe if you want to know what's coming up.
But it feels like home, and I pull myself away when it don't